Welcome back. Time to talk investing here on BT, and 2020 is halfway gone, and what a year it has been. For more on this, we're joined by our good friend Seth Allen from Cadence Financial. Welcome back to BT.
Thanks, sir. And it definitely has been quite the year, one that I don't think any of us were expecting at the beginning.
One for the record books indeed. So first of all, start off with, have the markets recovered from March?
Yeah, we definitely have seen a recovery from the March lows. Markets were down double digits at that point. And now some markets, depends on the market, is either slightly positive, or in the case of the NASDAQ, we're actually seeing double-digit returns to the upside. And if you can believe it, some people are actually talking about this looking like a bubble in tech stocks, which,
wow,
a couple months ago, nobody was saying that.
It's pretty shocking to me as a layman. But if you can look at your crystal ball, your powers of prognostication, how do you think the rest of the year is going to look in terms of investing?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. It's on a lot of people's mind. If I had the exact answer, I think I would be a very popular person. I think there's a lot of uncertainty out there. And but as an investor, there's a couple of things you really need to be focused on. First, you got to be looking at the earnings going on right now. You're getting a good look back in terms of what happened during the pandemic shutdown, but more importantly, looking forward. The second thing is keep an eye on what the central banks and the governments around the world are doing. We're seeing money creation at a rate that we've never seen before in history, which has obviously done very well for gold. I mean, that's part of the reason why we see it hitting new highs. And I think the third thing that isn't being talked about as much right now, although you can see it on the newscasts, is the U.S. election. Depending on the outcome of that, I think that is going to be the biggest thing that investors need to be keeping an eye on, because depending on who wins, there will definitely be material impact to certain sectors and the stock market at large. All
right, a lot of factors there, and I'll just cut to the chase. Should investors be putting money in the market right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I get it all the time, both when markets are selling off and markets are rallying like they are right now. And, if you look back in March, I call it a fear of being invested, or phobia. And now we're starting to see elements of FOMO, or fear of missing out. And I think that as an investor, you need to take a step back and kind of put your emotions aside and really understand what it is that you're buying, understand, what's going to drive that company or that particular investment. And also keep in mind, there's some very smart investors out there, such as Warren Buffett, with a very long track record, who has actually been rather quiet in terms of his investments lately. He's sitting on a lot of cash right now, and I think that as any investor, you should pay attention to that, because perhaps we might see a second wave come. We're still dealing with the first wave, and yes, we're seeing hopeful prospects on the vaccine front. But again, that's not going to be out there for the public, in terms of having a vaccine, probably until next year. So, between now and the end of the year, I think that you can be in the market, but really understand what it is that you're owning. And, this goes back to what I've talked about in the past. Have an investment strategy, have a proper one. And, frankly, you need to be probably looking at your financial plan as well, because ultimately that's what drives the investment strategy.
So, Seth, you talk a lot about having a sound investment strategy, but where can people get more information in terms of creating a financial plan?
Well, depending if you're dealing with a financial advisor or dealing online, there's some online tools you can use, or you can talk to your financial advisor who can help put one together. But don't panic if you don't have one. You can always get one started. And once again, remember, the investment strategy is driven by how that financial plan looks. And given what we have ahead of us, I think it's very important to have those things in place before you start investing.
Excellent. CadenceFinancialGroup.com for more. Seth, we thank you for your time, as always.
Thanks, Thor.
All right, you take care. Let's look at what 2020 could shape up to be when it comes to the financial forecast with our good friend Seth Allen from Cadence Financial. We'll be back with more BT after this.